Welcome, everyone, to the Roots of Our Being global event, in which our journey to the past becomes our quest for our future. Together, we will reconnect with our ancient wisdom and heritage in remembrance of our true spirit and essence. As our modern day structures dissolve, now is the time to invite and welcome in the powerful stories of the soul's journey of remembrance and renewal. I am your host for this event, Amanda Kulbaba, and today I'm very excited to present Enrica Ferruzzi. Welcome, Enrica.
Hi, thank you. Welcome to everyone who's listening.
Before we dive into Enrica's topic of discussion today, I just want to let everybody know a little bit about her. So, Enrica Ferruzzi's journey reflects the power of transformation and self-discovery. Raised in Rome and shaped by two distinct cultures, she developed a passion for exploration and growth. After 2 decades in corporate hospitality, Enrica left her career to pursue a deeper, purpose-driven life, embracing holistic living and spiritual awakening. Over the past decade, Enrica has emerged as a multifaceted teacher, healer, and author. Her work integrates ancient wisdom, energy healing, and spiritual practices, empowering individuals to align with their true nature and unlock their multidimensional potential. She created Cosmic Ocean Frequencies, a, transfer, a transformative alignment. Sorry, I just passed her thing. Of course, here we go. Transformative alignment practice that blends energy purification and cultivation, angelic earth resonance, and light language transmissions to restore balance and catalyze growth. Her books include Beads of Light, a story of alignment, which explores navigating life's challenges through spirituality, and our forthcoming work, The Eight Keys, Opening to the Mysteries of Cosmic Harmony. This new book serves as a beacon for understanding humanity's role in the cosmos, offering tools for self-discovery and alignment with universal rhythms. Through healing sessions, intuitive guidance, and her writings, Enrica empowers others to embrace their true nature and find clarity, balance, and purpose. Her profound shift from corporate success to spiritual awakening serves as a powerful inspiration, motivating others to embark on their own transformative paths. Her topic of discussion today is reconnecting with the heart's wisdom, awakening our true essence for personal and collective renewal. Wow, you have a great
Wow,
bio,
so
Enrica.
nice. Yeah, what a mouthful. You did amazing.
Thank
Uh,
you. Of
mm,
course, I fast forwarded it there. I was like, I
mhm,
lost where I was.
mhm,
Apologies.
mhm.
But
It's
yeah,
okay.
no, beautiful. So, my first question for you today, as we dive deep into this very fascinating topic, you emphasize the importance of heart-mind expansion and self-care in the context of reconnecting with our ancient wisdom. Why is this holistic approach so essential for personal and collective growth?
Mm, thank you. I can start with sharing the fact that we are designed with this incredible um, communication system, or I should say systems of communication that constantly collaborate with each other. And this complex, intricate system of communication reflects the wisdom of the soul, what I call the language of the soul or technology of the soul. And so here, soul, higher self, or guidance system, there are multiple layers, I can say, or levels of our being. And when I like to talk about communication systems because when we dive into what does it mean to live, a heart it through the heart mind, um, it is really this collaboration, like reawakening or reconnecting to this collaborative, literally language that we are experiencing between the physical form, our emotional bodies, all the different levels of our energetic and spiritual systems and structures, which I see as actual structures, of course, in the non-matter realms. But the most important guidance system for me that has been just like my compass for this last probably 10, 15 years, and almost 15 years now, um, this relearning, what does it mean to listen to my heart? And I do want to just briefly share that we're not simply talking, and not simply is not even the right word, but we're not only talking about the heart chakra or the internal chakra system. Um, Right. I really, I'm like listening to myself. I'm like, yes, yes, I will say that. Sorry. As an expansion of this heart mind complex, which includes the heart chakra, but it's actually a complex. Like there are multiple other energy centers and connections that are awakening through the earth and through our, human being form in these last, we can't put dates on it, but anyway, it's been a reawakening into us. So what I'm trying to say is I don't want to simplify it with saying follow your heart, because unfortunately language kind of simplifies and makes it a little bit superficial, but we have language and this is how I'm going to explain it. So I want to just emphasize that the heart mind is much more than just listening to our feelings, although it certainly includes that. And we have been for a while now transitioning from a, following our mental body only as far as leading life through intellect, accumulation of knowledge, and just saying that it makes me exhausted. Like it's all wonderful, but it's not complete, into a phase where we actually need to lead more with other parts of ourselves in this, and so what does that mean? Like, how do I think less and feel more? Again, it's a much vaster aspect of who we are, but these are just like gateways. So, like, even using this language helps us understand, like, okay, how do I lead life with just feeling more of what do I really want? Who is really, who's talking in my mind? Like, what kind of information is there that I have stored from memories, from just data that we collect? And then is it running my life, or am I a good manager of my information? And so this was, for me, really profound. And it has been like, it's not like I got it, I got this nugget of wisdom and I'm going to teach everybody. No, it's like an ongoing process of like rediscovering and relearning how to listen to your soul's language, which is multi-layered. And we can talk about all multidimensional aspects in a minute. But so how do we reconnect with this language is um, through self-care practices, certainly, but self-care is seen as an active um, gateway for self-reflection, for self-discovery. It's beyond, you know, the head. It's beyond thinking about like Saturday morning, I will have time to do this to take care of my stress. It can't just be that anymore. And so through self-care practices, and we can certainly talk about what those are, everybody's so different. It's just like a diet. We can't make you eat this and everybody eat the same thing. Everybody's so unique. So some things will resonate with some and not with others. But so through self-care practices, we get to purify our thoughts, release detrimental energies, detrimental thoughts and energies who walk around like, complement each other. and integrate and ground in balance through the body. And so what from my personal experience is through immense levels of stress because I was just, consumed with my work, which was fine. I was super happy with my work, but I was also noticing uh, extreme discomfort physically, mentally, just so stressed, even though I was like in love with my job, where I was presented with opportunities to learn mindfulness. And to be honest with you, it was like science fiction at first because I was questioning how in the world do you want me to sit down and just pay attention. And it was torture. And of course, through practice, then we recognize that's actually our natural state. And this other way of operating is not our natural state. And so we're just used to this new pattern that has been developed through many, many years. And we think that's the only way. So again, just following only the yeah, the mental bodies or the thought processes as the soul leader, there comes a point where, and we are in that transition, I feel, where more and more people are wanting to reconnect with who they are truly and move beyond um, thoughts, literally, like what do I think, who am I, and what do I want to create? And these are questions that cannot be asked only when you have a special retreat once a year or every 3 years or something. It's something that is like cleansing every day. It's like what can I do to take care of myself right now? And I want to pause right there. I said so many things. Is that okay? um
No, that was great. Thank you. It's really, really interesting because what you were talking about, us being in our mind, like we've really been programmed, like school really is set up for us to be very much in our mind and in our head. And the intelligence mind is sort of put on a pedestal, like this is what's important. And to succeed in it, get a good career and achieve a lot in this world, you have to be so-called smart or do really well in school. And it's all this energy of focused up here in the mind. And we're seeing a lot of mental health issues around the world now. Like everybody seems to, I know here in Canada, everybody seems to have a mental health issue. It's just huge now. And coming back to the heart, like how do we I know you were touching on it a little bit, but how do we draw like from being and really a lot of programming and a lot of beliefs that people created within themselves about the importance of the mind. How do we draw to the heart? I know when I work with people myself too, a lot of people don't know how they feel. They're like, I don't know how I feel, and that is, if we really think about it, that's a little odd. It
hmm
is because how do I not know how I feel? But a lot of us have become numb. And you talked a little bit about like it's not just the heart chakra and it's not just about feelings. Can you go a little bit deeper into what that really means?
Absolutely. Yes, thank you. And the main thing here is to be able to be honest with ourselves and take responsibility for the fact that it is like our sole most important job is to understand what is happening in the internal worlds. And so we may not know this, we may not realize that's not what my purpose is in life. And I laugh because sometimes people think like they need to have this grandiose mission, and that can be, yeah, that's like sounds really nice, but again, it's like who is like deciding this internally. And so when I speak about connecting with our heart mind, understanding what is it that we truly want, and self-care practices being the doorway to self realization, self recognition, just self and understanding. It's not a heavy process, even when we're going through a difficult memory or difficult emotion that we are, maybe challenged with. The bridge, and this is what I was getting at earlier, through the bridge to understanding ourselves a little bit better, has been, in my experience, and everyone, of course, experiences in different ways, through feeling the energy running through and around your body. And so, through mindfulness practices of meditation practices, there are so many. We're so lucky that these days we have, especially the last 20 years, we have so many resources, so many free resources. So anyone can have access to the gift of making space. The the key for me was to feel the energy. So I can like I really like to know what's happening internally. I've always been this way, maybe a little bit left brain, you know like, but why is this happening in the nervous system? And I was so lucky because my teacher had a medical background, so she can explain to me, like, oh, this will, lower the brain waves, and this is why. So when when I could feel the energy, just like through movement, the energy through between my hands, through my body, then something else opened up. And that's what I'm saying, like, self-care practices can be reading an inspiring book, and that'll be your gateway to listening to your quiet voice that suggests this is what maybe you can do to take care of your lower back pain or the relationship or whatever. To understand that the true voice, that is really the heart, mind, the soul, the higher self, guiding you and providing you with these gentle nudges towards what is the most aligned direction for you. Oh, kitty. Sorry, cats always come when I'm, involved, and it's a very okay. So I'm sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent. I saw the cat. The
It's
the
okay.
the 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 ability to connect with the heart mind is, in my opinion, is to feel energy. So when we find ourselves so consumed with with thoughts, um, swaying through the emotions, without being able to manage, because control is not really a correct word, it's still linked to thinking, but be able to handle and manage and self-regulate, self-calibrate. Energy will do that, will help us. And so if I'm too busy here, if we're too busy up here, we certainly become an upside down pyramid, not very stable. But when we can integrate and ground and actually engage the mind of the body through even gentle practices that include the physical body, the mind of the body will help us be that bridge and run this, circulate, purify, energy, that energy running through our body, the blood running through our body, our breath. So everything is this circulatory communication system that allows all these different levels of consciousness that are part of, like, this magical being that we are, to literally make space. So then who comes in is like, okay, I think this is what we need to do with this situation. And with this knowing, not here, that that's like, oh yeah, that is like, that feels like the best thing that, and somebody can advise me with, instead of considering data, including, what other people are telling you, like, like friends, family, doctors. We can accumulate all kinds of information, but what is this part? Once you're connected, once even the body can feel, like, where do you feel that in your body? Whatever that is, discomfort, I'm tired, my back hurts. Again, my back hurts. That's been a recent issue, that's why it comes up. um, and so how do we connect with the heart mind? through practices that can help us activate all bodies and without neglecting one or the other. This symbol came to mind, and I want to share. Some may be familiar with the Egyptian um, healing tool of the Jed pillar, Jed, DJED, which is closely linked with Osiris, but it's represented by a pillar, so a rod, let's say, and then four bars on the top half. And this represents the tree of life, so our physical form, and working on four planes of existence. And in the ancients believed, and this is not limited to, but let's say the four planes of existence being the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. Although within, that's what I was saying, within that there are multiple layers, right? But if we think about, my body is the container for this life force, wisdom, and I can't just operate on the mental level, same as I can't just operate on a spiritual level and be lost in the clouds and not be able to function in society, because I'm would be thrown off tilt if I go to the post office and there's a long line and somebody's rude to me, for example, right? And then same, I can't just be focused on my physical body and the surface of what it means to take care of your body. And so this is, I mean, the ancient people across many, many cultures had this immense wisdom of we use the body to take care of our minds, plural, and vice versa. So if the gateway to connecting to our heart mind um, can't be the mental body because it's congested, then perhaps we can use the physical form to feel energy, which will allow that bridge to um, connect us deeply. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does. It makes a lot of sense. And something you said like a little while ago, it's just coming up again into my mind, in regards to you mentioned like, and I've, seen this with people too, feeling that or wanting to know if they have this grand purpose in life. And when you said that, it was interesting because I thought, maybe it's not so much that people are looking for that grand purpose in life, is that, this is just me thinking, is that more that people are feeling that there's so much more than what they've been told or led to believe, that this is how life is, this is who humans are, and we're all in a little container or box. But and that's why people are like, no, I'm so much more. I need to break out. My purpose is so much bigger. And maybe it's more of exploration of themselves as a multidimensional being, and all the wisdom that they hold within themselves. And I think that's what you were talking about, in connecting back to that intelligence and understanding that different layers of us, of who we
Right.
are, of what we make up. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes, and I see it too. That I felt in myself, and around 2008, 9, 10 really was the tipping point where I felt I can only describe it as restless, and of course, all these other labels were attached to that, such as anxiety and stress, but I was restless, like it's got to be more. We have to have more, and not because I'm an overachiever, even though at a certain time in my life you certainly can say that, but more about I want to dedicate time to cultivating balance. I don't want to be um living a life where I feel lack, incomplete, but I want to go beyond mental thoughts that bring me to a sense of lack of incompletion. And this is only, the only way that we can do that is to better understand our information. And so managing like what we're taught, like is this even valid still? Maybe. And then great. Then like digest it well, and then how does it serve you? If it does, if it is, still purposeful, then how can we use it in constructive ways? And a lot of times, this sense of like there's got to be something bigger, or we want more. We experience it when we have maybe moments of deep spiritual connection. Maybe with another person or with our guides or ourselves, and then there we lack maybe practices to help us um like really integrate, and integrate maybe is not the right word, but really like bring it down to a level where we can r- remember and understand, because information will come forth after we have spiritual experiences. It's almost like I visualize it as this data in our energy field that then whenever we're ready to absorb another part of it, it kind of jumps into our awareness, into our heart knowing, and helps us reveal another part. It's kind of like, a flower, like another, well, here you go, another piece of information that you needed that was maybe seeded a while back, right? And when we experience like, and we have this knowing that has nothing to do with logic or linear, even language. When we have this knowing of this is really what I want and what I feel like called to create, there if something interferes, such as our filters of doubts and my father doesn't understand me, or other yeah, possible blockers, let's say, we must become very good at discerning, like, okay, but where is this information coming from, and how do I need to manage it? Do I need to even pay attention to it? Because our most aligned self, which is our soul, our spirit, or the higher self, knows everything. And it wants us to, yeah, be adventurous and try things and do what makes us joyful, not for a day and then, oh, but I have all these other things I need to do. I mean, it sounds like when I say it a little bit superficial, like, oh, of course we have responsibilities, we have to pay bills, you have a job. But if something, whether you consider it a hobby or whatever, brings you such immense joy that you can do it for 7 hours straight without a break, then you probably need to do more of that. And 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 to allow ourselves to discover that part of ourselves is, I think that's just like the magic, where when we are in that space, then whatever comes through that is needing to be healed, parts of ourselves that maybe we don't want to look at, is that space where we can entertain them and listen and understand, like, okay, what do I do with this now? Is this something that I can, do I need to address this with my sibling, with my partner, whatever it is? So I'm just saying a lot of things, but the space where we have mm, a deeper connection with the different levels of who we are. So our essence is what creates transformation, not compartmentalizing and, I can't deal with this right now. It's too painful. It doesn't have to be that painful if we are if we can cultivate neutrality, presence, and alignment, which I see as sense perceptions, literally like our five physical senses, where we can become this constant dynamic, balancing act of, oh, look at that, I am triggered again, and where is that coming from? And it doesn't have to be this like hours long contemplative contemplation. I'm thinking in Italian, contemplativo, a contemplation practice, but it takes a second for us to kind of check in when we are aligned and neutral, like, oh yeah, that hurt my feelings still. I still need to work on that. Okay, moving on, but I know it now. It's kind of like present.
No, that's great. It sounds so much better when you say it in Italian, by the way. It sounds so much more romantic.
Okay, contemplativo.
Uh, so for people who may be struggling with this in, you mentioned meditation is a good tool to use. Is there other ways, other things that people can incorporate in their daily life, other tools that could support and help them with maybe like, yes, like you had mentioned about if somebody is triggered with something, how do they sort of, maybe pull back from that, find a way to work through that within themselves? Is there other tools or other ways that can help support them in this work?
Yes, thank you. Great question. The the key to meditation practices, especially for one that is maybe wanting to dive in a little bit deeper, is to try many forms and see what works best. And maybe on a Saturday morning, this way of, this form of guided meditation works. And maybe after work on a Wednesday night, you just want to listen to flute music. I'm just saying that um, the less structure I feel, the better. However, there are many, many meditation practices. And if one needs people to be around to help facilitate that experience, then one needs to look for a community or a meditation group that where one can practice with, even online. So there's no excuse these days. We can do it online. Along with that, I highly recommend that not only do we do physical exercise for the purpose of, taking care of our body physically, but meditative body work of any kind. And my passion became Qigong, or the healing martial arts, as it was just the only way that I could really be quiet. And that's, for me personally, that's what happened after years of practicing mindfulness. I came across a Qigong studio and I became very quiet with my thoughts. And it was an experience where I was questioning, I'm like, what is happening? Like for the first time. So, and that's what I was trying to um, convey, is that oftentimes we are simply stuck in the mental processes. And I say stuck because literally that's what it is. In, Instead of trying to explore with all of our being. And so the physical practices may help, right? It's certainly helpful to be in nature because the consciousness of nature matches ours. And so we always feel good when we're in nature or near, even if you live in a city, if you can be outside, but sometimes it's not possible. And so the meditative practices to visualize and to use our inner um, journeying abilities are incredibly helpful. I've been working with dreams for years in active dreaming and recording dreams and asking questions, and it is um, one of my favorite spiritual practices to work with my dreams. Nothing to do with interpreting dreams, but more about asking um, my inner knowing, um, the symbols, the symbolism. And oftentimes, just like I was speaking earlier, a symbol will come up, which I'm really fascinated by the ancient myths and, of ancient cultures. I mean, I studied ancient Greek for many years when I was in school. So I'm really one of those, weird kids that used to study like philosophy when everybody else did other things. I'm like, no, I'm busy. And so like symbols and just paying attention to what's around you, even what you surround yourself with, um, symbols in your own house, in your own room. So as far as like what you're asking, what kind of practices, I would say, especially for someone that is extremely busy mentally, and who isn't? But a lot of times people are like, "Oh, I'm so busy, I can't quiet my mind." And I laugh because everybody says that, right? Like, okay, well, use your body. Let's try to do some movement. And that's usually what I guide people through: movement first. And then let's see, can you breathe? Can you can you check your breathing? And then even when we're going through difficulties, we have to change our energy. We have to run and like a new program. And so it can be done when, and not only through visualizing a beautiful waterfall to cleanse your energy system, which will work. But if we can integrate into the physical, it's much more effective. And same as you have a beautiful spiritual experience through a dream, it will amplify the meaning and like resonate more and like have a deeper development at as far as the language and the messages of your soul if you write it, if you move through. If, for example, light language is such a beautiful practice for those who engage in, because you can move freely without needing to perform. Nobody's watching, like, dance like I, sorry, I was thinking like a crazy person, like I do in my training room, and it's such a joyful practice that allows my things to connect. And when I'm like, I need to ask for this question, it's not even um maybe what I need to know, but something else will pop in as an inspiration, right? And so this is a constant paying attention to yourself. And so I enjoy telling people, like, wouldn't it be great? Isn't it great if we can walk around and operate with more of ourselves? Even those parts that we neglected. I was run over by a car at 5 years old. I'm like, was shut down, for many years. But I'm inviting that part of myself still to come and like, okay, you count too. It's okay. And I you know, have a meeting with all of a department meeting with all these aspects of myself and try to listen. And then this is how I visualize myself. Sometimes, especially when I have a difficult time, I'll sit in meditation in the morning and I'll be like, okay, what is it? I'm trying to listen to everybody. Just like when I used to work in on property in hotels and I would have meetings with my managers and supervisors and my teams. You have to listen and see, what is it really that you're trying to say. And then you're not in charge, but I'm listening. Um, yeah. So the it's important to make time for self-care practices every day. There's no such thing anymore as like, I don't have time. Look at me. I'm all in pain. No, that's it. That's a little extreme. No, but seriously, like, we need to be able to have, and I'm not talking about an hour. If one has an hour, that's amazing. But a time where like take time to connect with ourselves, to make friends with, I want to listen, what is it that I'm trying to do, to feel, that what is going on. And when this happens, there's this like instant recalibration when we're off a little bit. And so when I was speaking earlier about, alignment or neutrality and presence as a sense perception, I've seen it and experienced it as literally like, I'm uncomfortable. Why? Oh, this is why. Okay, hold on a second. And is it that instant? It is sometimes. And other times I'm uncomfortable all afternoon for whatever but reason. But then we time ourselves and we kind of move forward. Like, how can I use this? I need to work on this, and I need to take care of my body because I'm not breathing well and my head hurts. Like, the body will always tell us what is happening.
Yes, thank you. That was really good. That was perfect. I wanted to go back to, in your bio, you talked about purification. Can you talk a little bit about what that means? You may have already spoken about it, but maybe just, yeah, go into it a little bit more for us.
Sure. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. Actually, one of my favorite self-care practices that helps us purify the mind and really all levels, and we're not not just talking about thinking here. And especially stagnant energy in the body that may show up as inflammation is body tapping. And, body tapping is hugely popular these days, but it's very, 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 very ancient practice. And I love it so much. And so I usually use drumming and fun music to tap my whole body. And this is not tapping like I'm being gentle, unless, one has an injury, a surgery, whatever, be gentle, right? But this is tapping, like I'm going to tap my lungs and my chest so I can feel it deeply. So when I take deep breaths in, I can feel the vibration going through my lungs, my heart, my upper back. And of course, this is not hurting yourself, right? But nothing breaks if you're tapping on your right side of the liver area or the left side, the spleen. And with deep breathing, especially in through the nose, out through the mouth, to let go, because it's our biggest escape is to let go of tension, toxic energy, old information. And then there's all these amazing physical benefits to body tapping, right? Regeneration of cells faster, but the mm, yeah, the practice itself of just like, especially when you have music or just the sound itself of tapping your body, because rhythm and sound helps your brain, kind of the brain waves slow down. It is so regenerative, and that's like probably to me, the fastest and most joyful way to release toxicity, or to purify the mind. And the other that goes along with that, usually right after, is to shake the body. And these are ancient qigong practices, to shake the body like a tree. And but I mean shaking. And so this could be dancing for somebody. It could be just like bouncing your knees up and down. It could be just making any kind of movement without thinking like, I look silly when I do this. Maybe, but it's not about that. It's about, can you release what is stuck in your body and in your energetic field, which is affecting your body through these practices. It's just like ecstatic dance, or during ceremonies, the drumming and the chanting and the rhythm itself that brings us to this pillar of light. It brings us to this sense of space where we can, look at everything, hopefully with no strong opinions of any kind, or just continue to practice less opinions. I like it, I don't like it. It's still an opinion, but more neutral, as best as one can. So these are probably mm, my favorite purification practices that involve where you will actually have to involve your body, right? And it's really helpful, especially for those who are very busy in their head and have a lot to think about, worried about things, and have a difficult time quieting thoughts. And then, of course, through more meditative, let's say yin practice, is visualization and encouraging your mind to take you to a journey, and then whatever you're presented with. And this may take some practice for some people who have difficulty with visualization. But same with hearing, you may be just in a space where you can be quiet and see what comes to wait. We have to wait and be patient, which is like so uncomfortable for most of us, but to be able to like wait and see what comes, through visual images. Maybe it's a color, maybe it's a shape, maybe it's a smell, or hearing. And so this is more of a meditative practice of purification. Again, purification. What do you visualize purification? Some people go to the desert in their mind's eye, in their mind screen, they visualize a walk in the desert, and others through water, because we know water is very purifying. But it doesn't matter, when we can have less of this structure, like I said before, like fire purifies this kind of this, whatever. Water purifies this. I mean, it's awesome, but we don't need to be, like I know, I can share this. In the past, I used to have like a little cheat sheet, let's say, okay, when I feel this, I need to use the green color. Okay. And when I feel this, I need to use, and that's amazing and it works. But sometimes our soul presents us with something else that is just as effective and it's just for us. And so that's our own language. So if I'm shown a whale in my dream, I know what the whale means for me, and it brings me, this melt like softness, and I get it. Thank you so much. Instead of I'm looking for this particular symbol and message. And if I don't see that, you know, and then I don't know, I have to doubt. Make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah, I understand that. We all want to get the book that gives us the message and the meaning for ourselves.
Hmm.
And I get it. It can be a little bit fun, but it's really about ourselves. It's the journey and exploration of ourself and our soul and the language of ourself. So yeah, that was beautiful. And I know that for myself, when I feel stuck, I'll just put like fun music on and I just start dancing. Because
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
that movement and that just frees you up. It breaks down the energy. It gets your everything flowing and moving again. And yes, I've heard so much about tapping, and I've had it done myself. It's very
Nice.
interesting.
Yes, yes. And yeah, I love it. And I mean, but I have to say, to be honest with you, when I first started these practices, first of all, you come with this idea like, oh, I found a Qigong studio. We're going to learn how to do Tai Chi in beautiful forms. And then they have us tap our body after stretching, right? And I'm like, is this right? And then, of course, we have all these ideas of how something is. And yes, because like, I don't know, why don't they teach us these things when we're growing up? Of course, I grew up in Italy and then I moved to the States. I like nobody teaches us these things, and for the longest time, I had to go through the big roller coaster of like, I could have, my mother in 2010 passed away from cancer, but like learning all these wonderful practices to help us with mm, symptoms, and I I was just like, why don't we know this stuff? These are ancient practices that we should be really grateful that we have been passed on through different teachers, and we are, reconnecting with these ancient practices because we need it. Just like earth medicine, we are gifted with all the things that we need to be able to be healthy. And yeah, so to a certain extent, we need to use all of our resources, including Western medicine and all these, all these different frameworks that are necessary. But on the other hand, we also need maybe more uh, to reconnect with really the intelligence of the earth, our ancestors, uh, our whole technology that is like in our body, that is connecting with the different aspects of ourselves, our guidance system. This is not like you're imagining you're talking to angels. Sorry, I'm saying it this way because some people, my friends, make fun of me this way. And in a sweet way, of course, they care for me. But, it's like, yeah, isn't that amazing? Like, why don't you? Like, you're shutting down that part of you, which is like so precious. And don't you want to like experience? And of course, I don't push my whole my whole way of living on others. It's okay. In the past I did. I'm like, wait, let me show you. Let me like share my experience. And it's not necessary. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. And I totally get it. I was there too. I used to not well, maybe some people felt like I pushed. But yeah, because you get excited. You're like, this is so amazing and a wonderful experience. Why don't you want to be like this too? And like you
Mhm.
said, yeah, it's not necessary.
No, yeah, right, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all good. But then accepting the fact that, like they're not gonna understand me. It's all fine, actually. They don't need to. Maybe it's better not. You know.
Yes, very true. Your website, it's Oceanic Frequencies, is that correct?
Oh, I love that too. No, cosmic ocean frequencies, almost.
Okay, thank you. I didn't look back at the your bio,
That's
sorry.
okay. Hmm.
Tanya, before we wrap up, because we are just flying right now, can you talk about what that means, and what it means to what you do and what you offer to people?
Sure, thank you. Yes, cosmic ocean frequencies, it refers to, well, two parts. So, cosmic ocean, it reflects our true nature, which is boundless, infinite, and intimately connected with what I call the cosmic mind or infinite intelligence. And so, cosmic ocean, why? Because we are. mm, Designed with the two yin and yang divine forces or cosmic forces of creation. And so all of the aspects of who we are a reflection of the cosmic mind, which is, this infinite universal intelligence. And frequencies is the connection with world beyond physical reality or 3D and so on. So it allows us to think of ourselves into, if we think about I am all of these vibration forces in a container, but I am way more than this. So, this realization can help us navigate life and everyday circumstances with a little bit more openness and maybe peace and ability to recalibrate to find balance in a more authentic way and embrace the not just a fact, but our true nature of being multidimensional. With that said, cosmic ocean frequencies came to me as the words themselves came to me as a mission of re. mm, as I am doing constantly recalibrating to what my true nature really is. And this is what I am passionate about sharing with people. And so we do this through some movement, through multidimensional technology such as light language transmissions, through channeling, and um, um, supporting people through their journey, whatever that is. But the knowing, without but understanding that we are this amazing instrument, a transfer device, literally, how as I call it, of these forces of, giving, receiving, and above, below, and we are um, supposed to share what we learn and then give, and then be able to operate in this way in a more expanded um, yeah, nature, expanded nature.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. It's
Hmm.
just, yeah, it's so fascinating. And just before, because we're running out of time, it's been
Sure.
such a, yeah, such a great talk today. So thank you. But before we wrap up, you have a free gift for everybody. Can you just give us a brief description on what this is about?
Of course, yes. So the two parts. The first part is the first few chapters of my book, Beads of Light, and then I have a bonus gift, which is a light language transmission on alignment and integration that comes with the video. And of course, you can watch the video or just listen to it as an audio. And we're offering a 20% off discount on private sessions.
Beautiful. That's very generous of you, Enrica. Thank you so much.
My
And
pleasure.
everybody can find her generous offering in the link underneath this interview. So please check it out. And before we go, can you let us know where we can find you online? And if you have anything, any last words of wisdom before we go?
Thank you. My website is cosmicoceanfrequencies.com, and I'm on Instagram, Cosmic Ocean Frequencies. Words of wisdom is mm, Yes, that it's okay to be vulnerable, that it's an expression of self-love and self-acceptance. Um, it enables us to really to connect deeply with ourselves and be and to find that way to honor and recognize all parts of ourselves, because all of them are magical. And I say this often, but I always tell people, like, can you like be in awe of your story, whatever that is, because everyone's story is just incredible. And just like think about that, right? So honor all the happenings of life, and then just enjoy even the not so comfortable parts. I used to have a teacher that always said enjoy everything, and then it always made me think, but it's true, because then that's when we can use it and then transform. So it's constant upgrading, that's a good word.
Perfect. That was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for being with us today. This was just so much fun and just beautiful. So much wisdom, so many gems of wisdom here. So thank you so much.
Oh,
I want to,
thank you.
oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I want to thank our audience, our listeners. I hope you enjoyed this discussion with us today. Um, and I hope to see you all soon. Please all have a gorgeous, beautiful day. So much love to you all.